Okay, guys, today we're gonna learn emotional level in chapter 4 continue. If you have ever had a job in retail, sell, or wait on tables in a restaurant, you know the importance of projecting a friendly demeanor and smiling, even though there were days when you didn't feel cheerful. You knew management expected you to be upbeat when dealing with customers. So you faked it. Every employee expends physical and mental labor by putting body and mind respectively into the job, but jobs also require emotional labor and employees' expression of organizationally designed emotions during interpersonal transactions and work. Emotional labor is a key component of effective job. We expect flight attendants to be cheerful, to be set up, and doctors emotionally nature at the least. Your boss, your managers expect you to be cautious, not hostile in your interactions with coworkers. The way we experience an emotion is obviously not always the same as the way we show it. To analyze emotional level, mm, we divide emotion into felt or display emotions. Felt emotions are our actual emotions. In contrast, displaced emotions are those the organization requires workers to show and considers appropriate in a given job. They're not innate. They learn and they may or may not coincide with felt emotions. For instance, research suggests that in U.S. workplaces, it is expected that employees should typically display positive emotions like happiness and excitement and express negative emotions like fear, anger, disgust, and contempt. Effective managers have learned to look serious when they give an employee a negative performance evaluation and to look calm when they are bred by their bosses. Because the organization expects this display, of course, there are no display rules for many workplace situations. Does your employer dictate what emotions you display when you are, say, heading out for lunch? Probably not. Many workplaces have explicit display rules, but usually only for interactions that mm, matter. Particularly between employees and customers. regarding employee and customer interactions, you might expect that the more an employer dictates sales people's emotion displays, the higher the sales. Actually, employees under very high or very low display rule do not perform as well in sales situations as employees who have moderate display rule and a high degree of discretion or their rule. Displaying fake emotion require us to suppress real ones. Surface acting is hiding inner feeling and emotional expression in response to display rules. A worker who smiles at a customer even when he doesn't like it, he feel doesn't like it is surface acting. Deep acting is trying to modify our true inner feeling based on display rule. Surface acting deals with display emotion, and deep acting deals with felt emotion. Displaying emotion we don't really feel can be exhausting. Surface acting is associated with increased stress and decreased job satisfaction. Surface acting on a daily basis can also lead to emotional exhaustion at home, work, family, conflict, and insomnia. On the other hand, deep acting has a positive relationship with job satisfaction and job performance. We also experience less emotional exhaustion with deep acting. When employees have to project one's emotion while feeling another, this disparity is called emotional dissonance. Emotional dissonance. Button up feeling of frustration, anger, and resentment can lead to emotional exhaustion. Long-term emotional dissonance is a predictor for job burnout, declines in job performance, and lower job satisfaction. It is important to counteract the effects of emotional level and emotional dissonance. Research in the Netherlands and Belgium indicated that while surface acting is stressful to employees, mindfulness, objectively and deliberately eval- evaluating our emotional situation in the moment was negatively correlated with emotional exhaustion and positive affected job satisfaction. Mindfulness is one of several emotion regulation techniques that we will discuss later in the next. Beyond emotion regulation, employees who engage in surface display should be given a chance to relax and recharge. For example, a study that looked to how cheerleading instructions spend their breaks from teaching found those who used the time to rest and relays were more effective after day breaks than those who did courses during day breaks. Lastly, employees who can depersonalize or standardize their work interactions that require emotional level may be able to successfully carry on their acting while thinking of other tasks, thus bypassing the emotional impact. The concept of emotional level make intuitive and organizational sense effective events theory discussed in the next section. Fix a job's emotional level requirements into a construct with implication for work, event, emotional reaction, job satisfaction, and job performance. And the next one, effective events theory, or we call AET. AET demonstrates that employees react emotionally to things that happen to them at work, and this reaction influences their job performance and satisfaction. Okay, guys, so look at effective events theory. 5 minutes for read this. We have seen that emotions and moods are an important part of our personal and work life. But how do they influence our job performance and satisfaction? Effective events theory or AET proposes that employees react emotional to things that happen to them at work. And this reaction influence their job performance and satisfaction. Say you just found out your company in the future is downsizing, you might experience a wide variety of negative emotions, causing you to worry that you will lose your job because it is out of your hands. You feel insecure and fearful and spend much of your time worrying rather than working. Needless to say, your job satisfaction will also be down. Work even trigger positive or negative emotional reaction to which employees' personalities and moods predispose them to respond with greater or lesser intensity. People who score low on emotional stability are more likely to react strongly to negative events, and our emotional response to a given event can change depending on mood. Finally, emotions influence a number of performance and satisfaction variables, such as uh, organization commitment, level or effort, intention to quit, and workplace deviance. In sum, AET offers two important messages. First, emotions provide valuable insights into how workplace events influence employees' performance and satisfaction. Second, employees and managers shouldn't ignore emotion or the event that cause them even they appear minor because they accumulate. Emotional intelligence is another framework that helps us understand the impact of emotion job performance. So we will look at this. Emotional intelligence, or EI, is a person's ability to perceive emotions in the self and others, understand the meaning of these emotions, regulate one's emotion accordingly in a ca- cascading model. Okay, next, a cascading model of emotional intelligence. 2 minutes for read it. Okay, guys, emotional intelligence or EI is a person's ability to perceive emotion, understand the meaning, and regulate his or her own emotion according. Uh, People who know their own emotions and are good at reading emotional cues, for instance, knowing their anger and how to express themselves without violating norms, and more likely to be effective. Several studies suggest EI plays an important role in job performance. One study that used functional magnetic resonance imaging technology found that executive MBA students who perform based on a strategic decision-making task were more likely to incorporate emotion centers of the brain into their choice process. One simulation study showed that studies who were good at identifying and distinguishing among their own feelings were able to make more profitable investment decisions. Okay, guys, the field is progressing in its understanding of EI. Many questions have not been answered or related to provide what EI may predict. For example, why evidence indicated that EI has some correlation with job performance. The correlation is not high and it is explained to a large degree by traits such as emotional stability. A second question is about the reliability of EI testing. For example, part of the reason EI has only a modest correlation with job effectiveness is that it is hard to measure. Mostly it is measured with self-report inventories, which of course are often far from objectives. All questions aside, EI is widely popular among consulting firms and in a popular press, and it has accumulated some support in the research literature. Love it or hate it. One thing is for sure, EI is here to stay, so might be our next topic. We will talk about emotion regulation, which is increasingly studied as an independent concept. Okay, guys, and next, emotional regulation. OB applications of emotional and mood, we assess how an understanding of emotions and moods can improve our ability to explain and predict the selection process in organizations, decision making, creativity, motivation, leadership, interpersonal conflict, negotiation, customer service. OB application of emotions and moods, selection, decision making, creativity, motivation, leadership, negotiation, customer service, job attitude, different workplace behaviors, safety and injury at work. Okay, guys, so we finished this chapter. Mm, so we will continue lecture on next chapter.